Good morning, Mario, and good morning, Switch fans. Happy Monday, last Monday before Christmas. Hope you've all been very good this year. Second to last Monday of the entire year, and we got a bunch of good shows to roll right on through. Today's Nintendo news is smoking. All right, because an unlikely game takes the top spot on the eShop, and nobody saw this coming. Plus, Nintendo bagged another Game of the Year award, and it's the end of an era at the big end. But then, we gotta talk about one of the largest leaks I've ever seen. This covering all the huge Nintendo exclusives for 2022, 2023, and beyond. It's absolutely insane, but we've got to really look deeper. I think you're gonna find this one fascinating. So what's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. Make sure to smash that like button if you enjoy these videos, and let me know your take on today's topics in the comments down below. Let's kick things off with a little tip. If you're looking for a last-minute gift for the Nintendo Switch fan in your life, or maybe even yourself, Amazon has Mario Odyssey for 35 bucks, which is like an insane price, no-brainer, great grab. But maybe not as great of a grab as what they did over on the eShop. There's a new leader, a new supreme king on top of the charts. It usurped Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, which have sold like hotcakes, whatever a hotcake may be. This game, though, out of nowhere, comes to take the #1 spot, and it's Saints Row? Yes, Saints Row 4 Reelected is #1 on the Nintendo Switch eShop. Thanks to a 93% discount, the game is down from $40 original retail price to $279, which is an insane sale for an open world game full of goofs and gaffs. And while it's not like a premier Switch port, it still plays pretty darn well and works wonderfully for $279. And now this might be the secret ticket straight up the eShop charts. Just put your game on major sale for a week or so, and boom, you could beat out Pokemon on Nintendo's system. Now, I personally don't have a ton of interest in replaying Saints Row, even if it is portable on the Switch, but kudos to them for putting something on such a good sale. Let me know in the comments down below if you are going to pick this one up at $279, and if you're surprised that it even beat out Pokemon. What should come as no surprise, though, to those of you who have played this wonderful game, is that Nintendo took the cake over at Time magazine. They earned Game of the Year honors in what I expect to be a growing list for none other than Metroid Dread. Yes, Time magazine crowned Samus's latest adventure the #1 game of the year, beating out Inscription, which is an indie that I think has to come to Switch. That now is like the main indie that we need on the platform. Inscription from Devolver, so good. Hybrid card game, spooky escape room, absolutely brilliant. Won Polygon's game of the year, second place for Time. I'm sure it'll get more honors as well. But let's focus here on Samus. And I think they summed it up super nicely. I like their write-up on Metroid. They said, when most people think of Nintendo, they conjure up images of kid-friendly characters like Mario and Pikachu. But Samus Aran, badass intergalactic bounty hunter of Metroid fame, has long earned her place on the Mount Rushmore of the company's characters. Dread, which longtime Metroid producer Yoshio Sakamoto has been cooking up on and off for nearly 2 decades, is often legit scary, though not quite on the level of something like an Alien Isolation, and a delightful return to form for a classic and beloved franchise. And they highlight that it's a 2D game that still has superstar success. And yes, I agree, Metroid Dread is absolutely magnificent and quite probably my Switch game of the year as well. I mean, it's a tough battle with Monster Hunter Rise early in the year and Bowser's Fury being an absolutely brilliant expansion, but man, Metroid, the best controlling 2D game I think I've ever played. Good job, Nintendo. Good job digging up the Dread after 2 decades and returning Samus to superstar form. This one is wonderful to see, and I think longtime fans, they knew this was coming. We just had to wait for it to happen. Now let's follow up the feel-good vibes with some pain, because it's the end of an era over at Nintendo, and for some of you, this might actually be like a really bummer moment, because one of their tentpole shows on the internet is over. After 400 plus episodes, they've killed Nintendo Minute. And I'm not sure why. Maybe they plan on bringing Good Morning Mario into the fold. That would be freaking sweet. But alas, Kit and Krista are donezo. They're not donezo at Nintendo. They'll still stay on as employees. But the show that highlighted many new games and brought a bunch of fun to the YouTube space and scene is over. They don't really give a reason for why the show is calling it quits, but it's done. And like, I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I feel like I would be perfect for this role. I don't know if Nintendo has any future plans to do any fun content of this sort, but if you're watching, I think I'm your guy. Let me know in the comments down below if you think I would fill in for Nintendo Minute super well. Like, I think it would be really fun. I think I got the energy for it. I think I got the positivity for it. I think I got the hair for it. But anyways, that's 8+ years of Nintendo Minute gone in a minute, lickety split. Let me know in the comments down below if you ever saw the show before, and if you're a bit bummed that it is now gone. Cozy and cocoa up for this next cuckoo story, because apparently Nintendo leaker Mark Amaro knows the plans for the next few years of Nintendo, like in its entirety. I mean, just to throw you one of his tweets, he said next year we're getting Pokemon Legends Arceus, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Advance Wars 1+2, Casual IP, Splatoon 3, Fire Emblem Echoes, Detective Pikachu, Zelda Wind Waker, Zelda Twilight Princess, Mario + Rabbids 2, Bayonetta 3, Metroid Prime, new 2D DK, Pokemon Let's Go sequel, Zelda Breath of the Wild sequel, and Monolith Project. And somehow, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Now, I know the instant reaction from many of you is total hogwash, BS, nada, not gonna happen, just a dude trying to clout chase. I thought the same thing. But before I go any further with his deeper dives, let me explain why I feel there might be at least some solidified credence to this craziness. Mark Amaro tweeted back in 2020 about the 2021 plans, and it sort of seemed like hogwash back then. Because anytime you get a list of this length, you're like, there's no possible way they could know this much, and it seems like they're sort of just capitalizing on a bunch of rumors that they've kind of coagulated into one giant clotty mess, and bleh, here it is, Nintendo's entire plans. But somehow, back in 2020, Mark Amaro called a ton of 2021 releases. He called WarioWare, he called Famicom Detective Club, he called a new Pikmin game, he called 2D Metroid, he called Advance Wars, he called Kirby Open World, and way back then he was talking about a new Donkey Kong game which picked up a lot of steam amongst the insiders in 2021. I mean, that's a pretty good list, and he got all of them right. Now, you could say that many of these franchises were on their way to Switch and it's just lucky guesses. And hey, you can take it with a grain of salt, but given his accuracy last year, I gotta go deeper into this list. Because besides the 2022 list, which has a lot of obvious entries and already announced titles, he talks about a Captain Toad sequel in development, Pikmin 4 getting ready to be revealed, Breath of the Wild 2 moving along nicely and will try very hard and almost assuredly hit its 2022 launch window. He goes further to say there is a new 3D Mario in development, but it's targeting to be a crossover release with the next Nintendo Switch, which he says is coming in 2023, a 4K unit, probably the one that we've heard so much about, and that it will be more powerful than a PS4, but not too crazy. But now let's get to his crazy part, all right? He says that Zelda Wind Waker and Twilight Princess are coming next year, but he also says that the Oracle games are being remade for 2023. He says that Nintendo was working on a new Mario Kart for this generation, but given the success of 8 Deluxe, they decided to push it to the next console. And it would be one of the first games to release on the new Switch in 2023, and is basically a Nintendo Universe racer, a la Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. He says they've been working on it for 2 to 3 years, and it has a heavy online focus, weekly challenges, a bunch of new ways to race, even new ways to take down your opponents, and really just brings in a whole bunch of different Nintendo IP into one Nintendo Kart type title. He also says the Fire Emblem remake is coming early next summer, the Paper Mario 64 remake is coming in 2023 or later, and then Nintendo plans to go heavy on Metroid from here on out, introducing the Metroid Prime remasters in 2022, and also considering a Samus Returns Switch port from 3DS to Switch to complement Mercury Steam's recently released Metroid Dread, and then Prime 4 in 2023. Now, this list is insane, and if anyone was to have this much knowledge and this much accuracy, I don't know, I would probably bow down. It would be the biggest and most accurate Nintendo leak of all time, having this much lined up in a row. And so I have to believe that some of it has validity and some of it probably doesn't. I'd love to know in the comments down below which of these you want most to be true, and for me, it has to be that Nintendo Kart Racer. Taking Mario Kart the route of Smash Bros. Ultimate is my ultimate dream, and bringing in new ways to race, new ways to take down your opponents, and a whole bunch of different challenges to incorporate a real community-centric online feel would be fantastic for what is probably my favorite Nintendo game of the last decade, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and moving it into the next era, the new generation, whatever the heck Nintendo Switch 2023 may end up being. I mean, frankly, so many of these sound good. A new 3D Mario is fantastic, Breath of the Wild 2 for sure hitting in 2022 is great, a whole lot of Metroid seems fun, Pikmin 4, we've been waiting for it. Captain Toad coming back is a bit of an oddity, but after they did the DLC, I don't know, maybe they have more ideas and they want to make that another one of those like $40, $50 games to kind of pair alongside WarioWare is an interesting alternative option for Switch owners. I also gotta give love to the Oracle ports as two Zelda games that I think would be really cool to see redone. We've had so much done with Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, games of that ilk, even Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. Going older, I mean, I love the style from Link's Awakening, so if they could do something similar with Oracle of Ages and Seasons, I think that would be stupendous. And new Donkey Kong is one of those dreamboat titles for me, so this list is brilliant. But I can't believe that all of it is correct. For someone like this to just get it all right 2-3 years in a row seems insane. And I feel like the Nintendo Ninjas would be all over this dude's butt if he was completely spot on. But speaking of butts, Nintendo is poised to have an excellent 2022, and recently Peer Schneider of IGN said that he's heard their plans and they are incredible, stellar, and even better than we currently expect. So maybe some of this will end up coming true, and if you look at Mark Amaro's history with his 2020 predictions and leaks, I don't know. What do you think? Is there a world where almost all of this comes true? Or do you think he's just throwing darts at very juicy targets, ones that are quite obvious, like, oh, a new 3D Mario, some Zelda remakes, and a new console? Is it just too general, too cliche to be really a leak and more of just a really educated guess? We'll definitely keep tabs on it, and I'll let you know if more comes out. But right now, I'm gonna kind of keep this list like in the corner of my eye. I'm gonna look for Nintendo's new Direct and see what they announce and see if any of it lines up with this. And if we start checking boxes like we did earlier this year with Famicom Detective Club and WarioWare and a new Pikmin title, man, I'm gonna be blown away, impressed, and also incredibly giddy. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. But now let's move to our poll. All right, today I asked you about Nintendo and another console. In honor of this leak, I want to know if you think they will release a new iteration in 2022. We've had so much discussion, hubbub, and incorrect rumors and leaks about a 4K Switch that then bounced back and seemed like maybe they are correct, but just didn't have the right time frame. Anyhow, 82% of you don't think there will be a new Switch iteration in 2022, and I'm gonna agree with you. I think due to supply constraint issues and chip shortages, Nintendo is in no hurry to rush out another console, especially considering the stellar success of the current Switch, the OLED model that still needs to get out there in a more acquirable state, and all the new games that they're pushing next calendar year. Why introduce a new console when you have an incredible lineup that you can sell to an install base of 100 million? That makes the most monetary sense, the most business sense, and I think it's the best for Nintendo. They're already so far behind the 8 ball in terms of pure power, I don't think a little upgrade is going to do a whole lot. So why not save it for a true next-gen Switch in, say, 2023? I like that strategy a lot more, and it would be a lot better for our wallets so we don't have to go OLED 4K in back-to-back years. But I will be back-to-back with another episode of GMM tomorrow. I hope you all enjoyed the show. Hit that like button if you did, and make sure you're staying safe, staying healthy, staying happy, staying positive out there. And look, if the holidays are getting you stressed, take a few minutes to breathe, get outside, some fresh air, even if it's cold, just like that nature, that natural goodness. I'm telling you, it'll instill you with a whole lot more resolve and positivity, I promise. Until tomorrow though, everybody, thanks so much for watching. Have a fantastic day. SwitchForce out.